That's the thing, we don't know that, and I'd rather that people were honest and started actually talking about the climate, whether it's a natural phenomenon, whether it's a cycle. I mean, look, the dinosaurs were here, they were huge, they did massive, and they gave off a lot of methane. Those things, you know, that years ago...
They were also hit by an asteroid the size of Mexico, I mean, which is possible. We had a nuclear winter for 2,000 years.
But think about it, the climate may have been hotter.
Yeah. It was a lot hotter when the dinosaurs were around, but obviously we're in a completely different era now, and that was 65 million years ago. But I think
the planet is still here, though.
Yes, the planet is still here. But on the issue of a referendum on net zero, personally, I mean, if we look at the two referenda that we've had recently in the United Kingdom, we had the Scottish referendum in 2014 and the Brexit vote back in 2016.
And the proportional representation.
Both and the alternative vote, exactly. All very divisive referenda. I would say Brexit and the Scottish nationalism referendum more so than others. And they've left lasting scars on society that still existed today. So my view would be I don't want another divisive referendum in this country, especially on an issue where actually if we look at a lot of the polling, I know Onward has done some polling, 64% of Brits support net zero, about 51% of people who would vote Conservative support net zero. You know, this seems to be an issue that a lot of people have decided on. In fact, at the last general election, 30 million people voted to back net zero supporting parties.
Well, didn't they all support net zero? I mean, didn't Labour support net zero? Didn't Tories support net zero? You didn't really have much choice, because we know that it's literally a two-party system. So whoever you voted for, you'd have got net zero. So that was not really... If there was somebody who actually... If Labour had said no to net zero and Tory had, and then you could argue that, but they all supported it.
I just imagine at that moment, the window behind you shatters and Nigel Farage bursts in and he says, what about me? Because he was making the case, he could have got the vote for it. But look, surely everybody accepts that there is more carbon in the atmosphere now, there's more carbon dioxide being...
We don't know whether that's a good
OK, no, that's stage one. We also accept that we're now getting weather situations now which are bizarre. We've never seen anything like it before. Is there a correlation between those two? Let's look at the science.
I don't know whether we have had, you know, like, we have gone through this thing where even if you look at the weather maps, even the weather maps have changed, as in now they're fiery red to say, when they're only maybe...
Scorchio.
So they seem to be... And Laura Dodsworth has talked about the nudge unit that's nudging us towards net zero as well. So there is a sort of brain kind of washing in a sense that we must go this way.
I see where you're going.
And I think we need to question it a bit more.
The Thames used to freeze over. The Thames froze over in the 18th century. They had to have the frost fair in the 17th century on the Thames. We had a fair, and you know these things can happen. But what I'm saying is, it's now happening faster and more frequently.
That's what you think. That's what we don't know the full picture.
Look, I take the point about the heat maps and things maybe being overread, but ultimately, you know, transitioning from dirty fossil fuels to nuclear and green energy sources can only be a good thing. I support that. So do most British people.